Hello Tubesters, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Apologies for the groggy throat. The lurgy still hasn't completely left me yet. It's obviously taking a holiday. So these are some Battle of France 1940s French infantry. Fell in love with these when I saw them on eBay. I believe you can go and get these printed off yourself if obviously you pay for the files and stuff. I've got a small printer and it would do these, and I have actually just bought them air purifiers because it's in the room that I paint, and to have it going away, chugging away, is not really particularly great. But and I have to have the windows open as well. Let me just move my tripod. I've just noticed it's on two legs, hovering, about to fall over. Absolutely delighted with these. These come from an eBay seller printer called Danger Close Studios. It's Jason I was dealing with. I take it Jason is the proprietor. I sent him a message. The communication was brilliant with him. Told me when they're on the way, and for these, there wasn't a massive wait. Sometimes it can be with printers, 3D printers, because obviously they're doing a lot. This particular order came out fairly sharpish. I just love the flowing movements. I mean, these have been done on ZBrush or something like that, rather than obviously a traditional method as they are 3D printed. But yeah, lovely figures. I've got I bought these myself for my own money. You know, I don't go hitting people up for free stuff or discounts or all that type of stuff. It is my, I've paid for them. But I wanted to give him a shout out, Jason, because they were really well packed. Communication was brilliant. It says on the thing, as they do with all 3D print, so this is a nib from the end of a larger support tab. You just cut it away. Make sure you have a fresh scalpel with these. And I normally cut away first, slightly a bit further, and then going for a last cut on the last bit. That's how I do them anyway. These are in tunics rather than the flowing greatcoats as you often see, but I've got some other figures I'll show you in a minute that are. But you can just see this particular section going down a French street in a village or a town, knowing the Germans are close. And you see this, we'll call him a section commander. I mean, beautiful handwork again, and he's just saying, hold on, there's something around. Tiny little nib mark down there. Again, be very careful, obviously you don't want to break off the trigger guard. It's always hard with the 3D printed, a bit like the metal figures. They've just got that shine to them, and you can't pick the details out so well. But they have got even the flaming grenade on the Adrian helmets. As you might know, you might not know. I mean, these are in I'll call them brown. You know, they're like a violet browny type of colour. They're very easy to paint. A bit of olive drab type of helmets, or olive grey, I should say. They're very straightforward figures to paint. But I just love the whole collection of them, to be honest with you. If I'd have had the money, I'd have bought the blooming lot probably. He's putting the working parts forward or back. But it's reminiscent of a section, just going, or part of a section going down. See, we've got a little nib there. No problem on doing stuff like that. They can't get every last little piece off, and you shouldn't expect them to. It's good that they do release most of them, and I prefer sellers to release most of the supports, only because yes, it takes us longer, but also when you're not 100% up with the figure that you're working on, you can be liable to snip off something that isn't supposed to be snipped off. So I do like them to get most of the supports off and then just leave us to do the rest. There are no mould lines, anything like that. I had 2 helmets, which will come onto on the mortar section, that had got a hole in one and a hole in the other, and a tiny hole in one of the greatcoats. I got no problem with that. Jason offered to, because I was in communication with him, Jason offered straight away without me, nudging him, to replace them, and I just said, well, no, it's fine, because I'd just like you to know what I thought of the figures, and a smear of filler. I tend to use PTSD rubs my mind. What do you use, Gav? Oh, I've got just use some 2-part epoxy putty anyway. I know what I'm on about, and you probably do, because I know I use it enough times. You can use green stuff, but I use no, sorry. It's been a rough 12 months with the head problems, unfortunately. As I say, my memory goes in and out. But yeah, lovely figures. I say the sculptor has done he's just got them right. They really are nicely done. So very happy. So that's that. Mortar, Jason had sent me a message when he was printing them off, saying about to post them. I've left the supports on the mortar just to protect it in transit, because obviously until it goes on a base and it's stuck down and whatever, it's not the strongest of things, so got no problem with that. So if you don't know what supports look like, these are supports, and they will be different sizes to what their job is of supporting. Let's just move these out of the way so we don't lose focus. Lovely mortar though, and obviously you can get that hollowed out look that you can with 3D printing. But yeah, very nice. Now this is a reserve, they sell a reserve unit, and I like how the sculptor, you'll probably see them better when I primed the figures up, but they've got them looking like me, well, obviously younger than me, but an old soldier come back to the colours. In these times, a reserve division, a reserve regiment, wasn't so much a territorial stroke as they are all now, even in the UK, reservists, as in weekend soldiers. They were blokes in the French system that had already been conscripted, they'd done their time, and obviously time of national emergency, they call back to the colours. They've got the classical French greatcoats on, which I always love to see. Again, the helmets are just lovely, they're really sharp. Facial details are nice, and they'll come up better even still with some paint on. So this is what you call I would call a light mortar. There's no pointer me. That's my wife saying, am I still here? Now look at this portly fella here. He's got his fag in his hand. He's obviously put on a bit of weight since last time he was in uniform. I think they're brilliant. It's just, is that the Legion of Honour? So he's already shown a past decoration. Oh, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I mean, look at him. It's classic, I haven't put the uniform on in 20 years, but here I am, called up on there. Again, you can see his face. It'll look better with paint on, obviously. They're a bit hard, these resin ones, when you, not just these, but any resin ones, when you come to see them. I mean, this guy, again, he's just got, the sculptors has gone to the extent of nobody's got the same face, if that makes sense. And so we've got a small hole there. Again, that's nothing for a bit of filler. Again, the trade-off between no mould lines and stuff, is complete. That's acceptable to me. You tread a fine line, don't get me wrong, of quality control, but I've got no problems with what I've received. That's why I sent him the message and just saying, I will put a video up, I will give you a shout out. I said, because there's another guy smoking his fag. Because as I say, people battling away, trying to make ends meet. Yes, pull them up when something's wrong, but give them a shout out when something's right. Help them out where you can. Well, that's the way I see it anyway. That's his boot, by the way. Obviously his leg goes up there as he's kneeling down, but it's a cracking pose. Absolutely beautiful. As a painter, I can do a lot with that. I'll say this: the war, the early war period, I really enjoy. I like the Battle of France, the fight for obviously Belgium and the Low Countries, Belgium and the Netherlands, and that's, yes, obviously from a British perspective, but I also take in France, the Netherlands, Belgium, obviously further up in Norway, and the Danes obviously did their best. And then I really enjoy the again, still stretching into the early war period. The Balkans and the Battle of Crete is a big, especially Crete is a particular thing of mine. Again, you can just see his supports holding up his glasses there, as in the supports of the printing stage. But because they're so fine, you put a fresh blade on that and just gently press. It'll go, not a problem, without doing any damage. The only thing I'm deciding with these yet is how, especially the mortar crews, how I paint them. I normally, if it's a base, if they've got their own, a metal figure or a plastic figure will have its own base that its feet are sitting on, and then obviously I just use 10-minute PVA to glue them to either a bottle top or to the base itself. These ones I can't really do that because they're going to be on a larger base. I don't think drilling even with a small drill bit, I don't think it's a case of damaging. It's trying to get deep enough into the leg to put a pin deep enough in. I don't think that'll work. But I will show you that. Oh, that's his one. There you go. We've got a nice big hole there. Again, though, I'll mention it again. Jason did say he'll pop them in the post. I said no, not for that. I can clean that up. That's not a problem. Bit of filler and sand over. Well, you don't even have to. I actually use what do I use? Show the people, Gav. When I'm working on, I've got a whole bunch here. Clay shapers, and I do use them to do a bit of, when I'm trying to do a bit. You see, they're getting a bit. They need real better clean up than that, Gav. But I use different ones. For this pointy one gets a lot of use. They're fairly cheap off, off eBay. And that's what I use. Once I've put my filler in, the two-part filler, you can put it in fairly wet, you see, and then just wet it, and then just smooth it out, and then it needs minimum sanding it, if at all. And you also get a spare ammo canister for the mortar bombs. So there you go. Very, very happy with those. As I say, they were packed well. They were in lots of baggies, in a one of those little bubble wrap envelope things. Not the envelope, sorry, but just something that you can pop them in. And then they were in a nice wooden box. Come on, Gav, a nice cardboard box. Yeah. So communication 10 out of 10. Packing 10 out of 10. We got these couple of holes that would mark them down just for quality control, but there's one and there's another one somewhere which you probably noticed. I've got a, no, I don't know, but it's not that's not a deal breaker for me. As I say, for the what you got to do there, for what you'd normally do in cleaning off figures, that's not a problem. Something that needed to have been checked though, really. So, I'm not giving it full marks, but as long as somebody's prepared to spend their own money to send you other, replacements if you want them, then I've got no problem with that. So, yeah, there we go. Give the guy's business a shout out one more time. That's Danger Close Studio on eBay. Either put Danger Close or 28mm 1940s French, early French, whatever you want to put, it'll come up. But Danger Close Studios. and you'll find what I'm talking about. As I say, I've got no connection to them whatsoever. I bought these all with my own money. So again, I say what I like, good or bad. You know, it's my opinion. So look forward to doing these. I've got to try and work a base out. I've got loads. You know, we're all the same. I've got 1,000,001 bases. Obviously, I'm never going to use it. I always misorder, or I've got this huge collection of bases. So I'm sure I will have something I can stick the mortar on as the whole crew. I've just got to work out. I'd hate sticking figures on blue tack. I see people do it all the time, and it never works for me. They still fall off, and there's nothing worse than if you've got a figure and it falls off. You know, and either if it's a metal figure, you end up chipping paint off, and it just never works. And also the feet end up stinking. They probably do, but the feet end up going into the blue tack, and you're painting around, and then when you come to obviously take them off the blue tack, you know, you varnished them and everything, you're going to put them on a base, you realise that you've got to repaint feet because they never saw any paint in the first place. So yeah, I'll work out something along those lines. So I'll definitely be getting onto these. I've got Vietnam figures. I'm going on a bit of a Vietnam drive at the moment. We're going all the way with LBJ. I always say that. I've got another 4 Vietnam United States Marine Corps for Battle of Hue that I'm working on. I've got the 3 finished. I'll be doing a video after this one. Will come up a couple of days later. I've got some 28mm E-ball miniatures, metal, War of Spanish Succession, another favourite time period of mine. They're being done to sell. I'm hoping they do sell because I've got bills to pay. But if they don't, then I'll keep them. I like them too much. And if I do sell them, I'll see if I can convince the wife to let me have a bit of money so I can get another one. Just because I really like those figures. But these French are definitely coming up in amongst all the rest of it. Never mind the commission that I am supposed to be working on. So yeah, I hope you know, a lot of people, they're more into late war periods if they're gaming and whatever. Figures, you know, people obviously like the late war Germans and all this type of stuff, but I've always I like one of the big things is France in 1940, as in British Expeditionary Force in France in 1914 to the end of 1915, and it's always been not just British, but you know, British and Allied, shall we say, all through the Battle of France and the Low Countries, and you know, into the fall of Crete and that. So I hope that's something of interest to anybody out there. So we'll talk uniforms and maybe bits and pieces on them at a later date once I've got some paint on them. But go and check them out. As I say, there's a whole range of figures on there. These aren't the only ones. I thought they were fairly reasonably, well, not fairly, they were reasonably priced. You know, and then whether you're collecting or gaming, and also as well, they're fairly, you know, they're fairly strong. You know, they're not. I don't think they're going to bust on you that quick. They shouldn't be busting on you. I mean, what are you doing with your figures if you're going to bust them? Anyway, I digest. Degreased? No, something like that. Anyway, look after yourselves. And what's coming up? Well, we've just explained half of what's coming up, and we've also got some more work done on the 1 in 16th Dragon figure and on the 18mm AB commission that I'm working on. So there's plenty to see and do. We've got Joachim and Marcus's group build coming up, starting beginning November. I've got a 1 in 35 model to do for that, and 28mm Vietnam as well. So lots to look forward to. Look after yourselves. Thanks for the kind words and support, and we'll catch each other very soon on another video.